This is turning into actually quite a big crisis quite quickly for the government, isn't it? Allegra, you've been looking at options, legislation, drawbacks today. So where do you think we are? What are the options?
It's a huge headache for them. These are massive numbers, £1 million losses a day. Pension liabilities of 14.5 billion, just to go over it. A government that's central mission is to bring down the debt and the deficit can't take it onto the books, can't nationalise it because it would be adding billions in seconds. So that isn't, Sajid Javid said it's not viable. That's why it's not viable. These people don't instinctively want to do it, but they can't do it for the politics of the situation. So there are options. So as Chris talked about, you have the idea of temporary nationalisation. So that would be what they've done in Scotland. I think for that to be, in Sajid Javid's word, viable, I think that would have to be a question of 24 hours. It has to be absolutely clear what's hoving into view, because they just do not want to end up with somebody backing away, as has been happening again and again, and they're on the rack. So then the other one is this idea of part nationalisation. And this trickiness with this is that you come up against EU state aid rules, and this is essentially a Dragon's Den style process run by the EU. They do not want people protecting their steel industries because of problems Europe's had with steel industries in the past, and so they're very aggressive about policing it, and people can anonymously complain if they think that you are propping up your steel industry. Now, that all said, Germany and Italy get round these problems, and indeed our own government recently have got round this strictness of the rules. So I don't think actually it's going to end up being the EU that does or doesn't dictate what we do. There is political will inside the government. It's just going to be one of those two
They've
options.
just got to do something quite quickly.
So not a massively attractive set of options, but a big political problem because they want to keep steel alive. So what are they going to do in your view?
Look, what we know and what we were saying around this desk last night was that David Cameron wants to keep primary steelmaking. We heard his business minister, Anna Soubry, say as much again this morning. Now, if they're going to do that, they've got to be digging deep into their pockets. Yes, it's not an attractive option, but they've got to be looking at some way of keeping this thing alive, because even if they do temporarily nationalise it or have some sort of part ownership, who on earth wants to buy it, as we've been discussing here before? But look at the other options. Not only are there 15,000 people employed by Tata in this country, there are something like 40,000 people who have jobs who depend on this industry. I mean, the options are huge. David Cameron's been on holiday, yes. It's rather sort of caught them by surprise, I think.